We are above this. I believe we are above this. We're not gonna succumb to no drama and feeding on the carcasses of that is beneath us. That is not something I'm gonna do. So, Pirate Software, it never talks about Blizzard.
I was watching a video that was critiquing you for mentioning you work at Blizzard so much. I literally never talk about it. When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Your red team specialist for Blizzard Entertainment. And Blizzard is having worked at Blizzard. I grew up at Blizzard. Blizzard. Industry for Blizzard. Blizzard. But yeah, no, I worked at Blizzard back when I used to work at Blizzard, when I was at Blizzard. For those who don't understand,
God.
I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. I know how to do that because I worked at Blizzard. Example of this, when I was at Blizzard, how do you know so many things? I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. I don't think I'm better than other people. I do think that it's funny because you key on that. There's a lot of people that brought that up. And it's like, I never said that I was. I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality it's this.
Oh my god, Dr. K.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro.
Dr. K, no!
I actually am the first second-generation Blizzard employee.
No, Dr.
I was
K.
the first second-generation Blizzard employee. The first second-generation Blizzard employee. First second-generation Blizzard employee. So I'm second-generation Blizzard. I'm the first second-generation Blizzard employee that ever existed in the company. I'm also a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was a second-generation Blizzard employee. Working for Blizzard sucked.
What am I supposed to do? Listen, I didn't do it to myself, okay? I just think it's entertaining. Now, do I work at Blizzard? No, so maybe I don't know what's entertaining. It's called Blizzard Entertainment, okay? Maybe they know a thing or two that I do not. But I think this thing is entertaining. Because, one, he did it to himself. And two, it just shows off a facet of parasocial situations that I'm not a fan of. Now, I'm gonna say the following. I do not advocate for any form of violence and just going there to call him names. Just because. I think it's warranted to bring him out in the public. You can't construct your whole persona around the idea that you're an expert in something, and your whole message is no one should be gatekeeping. They are gatekeeping this from you, and you don't need to. You can do it. You can, which is a very positive message. But it's like a form of toxic positivity almost, because you're doing it as a grift. And I'm not sure that this is 100% that he believes, if he believes this himself, or if it's truly a grift. It's still a grift though. But people flock to you not because you said, go make things, you're such a positive presence in this platform. Oh, he's telling me that I can do it. Not because of that, but because he portrayed himself as someone who made it. If you portray yourself as someone who knows what you're doing, and your message is one of enabling other people to do the same things that they perceive that you are doing, but you can't do it, I think that's shitty. And look, it would be perfectly fine to say, look, even I can do somewhat of a game, and I'm shit at this. But look, it works. It kind of works. And all the stories and everything, building this figure of authority in game development. I think people would still flock to him if the message was the same. Do you know what I mean? If the message was honest, if he didn't claim to be an expert in, game development and programming and said, well, I worked at Blizzard, but mostly Q&A, I was responsible for tackling bots, and could argue that platforms like this one reward dishonest representation. They do. They do. For instance, if someone is very good at doing speedruns, they'll gather a following in that niche, and people will follow that person because they know they're very good at doing speedruns. And so they keep watching for the speedruns and that specific content. If someone is very good at programming, maybe they join that person because they themselves would like to be, would like to get into that path and become a programmer and learn. So that's like the first thing. The expertise is secondary. It happens as sometimes correlated with popularity. Yes, but because we live in an era where certain subjects are very popular, computer science initially for me and for many people was appealing because when you saw the magic of video games, you went like, I wanna know how the hell do you do that? Then it became secondary, but like that has been my experience. Most of the students I had in university, I taught for like a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, I think 4 years. I taught introductory programming classes at university, and computer systems architecture, you know, low-level shit and high-level shit, and data structures and algorithms and data structures, that sort of stuff. But in computer science, I could see the spark in most of the students' eyes whenever you talked about game development or something related to game development. I could see it. That sort of stuff. You can see it. You know it. That's what brought them to computer science. Then they quickly realize that it's not enough to know about computer science and software engineering. There's more to game development, right? There's the artistic aspects of it. And the game design part, exactly. That's a completely different discipline. But like, you could see that these people got into engineering and computer science because of video games. Many of them. And so it pisses me off when you see a guy that claims to be in the industry for 20 years and claims he's an expert, not directly, but the implication is there. And it's just a fucking grift. It's just a grift. It's just a popularity. It's just playing the popularity contest. I don't mean that it warrants all this vitriol hate that some people are demonstrating, but like it warrants the people juicing it for drama. I think when they have valid criticism. But it pisses me off. I don't know what it is. It pisses me off. I don't think it deserves hate, but it deserves to be dragged in the mud in the public square. I'm sorry. And it pisses me off not just that, but the fact that it deflects any criticism by trying to tell that the other person is just a grifter. They're just trying to juice him for content. Of course we are. That's what we do. That's what people that focus on drama sometimes, because it's entertaining, right? But it's not as if it's unwarranted. But what do you call someone that started a game, hasn't put out a decent update in years, tells everyone go make games, clearly is shit at programming, and instead of owning and saying, oh, I'm doing my best, you know, I'm not the best at this, but this just works, I didn't want to touch it, it's a nightmare, but you know, it's working, so it is what it is. No. Instead, it turns to other people that clearly know what they're saying, and they go like, oh, it's just a grifter, he's trying to sell you some courses or something. Look, even worked at Blizzard, it's not the flex that people think it is nowadays. Because Blizzard used to be this beloved company with these beloved video games. And nowadays it's just a husk of its former glory. Widely known shitty practices and bad working conditions. You worked at Google, there you go. It's like, who gives a shit? You know? I'm not gonna sit here and go like, oh, Google, oh my god, Google. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing with Blizzard. I'm not gonna, just because you want to be a software developer or a game developer, you don't need to be sitting here and going like, oh my god, Blizzard, oh my god, Blizzard. Do you know? World of Warcraft, oh my god. Like, what the fuck? Go look at the beautiful landscape of indie game development that we have nowadays. The open source game engines, some of them really, really good. We have so much in terms of game development that we didn't have like 20 years ago. You don't need to be simping for this perceived authority. But they do. It works. It's fucking apes. Seriously. They go like, oh Dave, you're just saying that because you wish you had that viewership. Yes, but that doesn't invalidate my point. Because it's an own brand? Yeah. I know. Hello? Did you like the video? If you did, please leave a like. Subscribe. Press the... If you have the bell, press the bell. Otherwise, you know... you don't get the juicy stuff next time. Is this how you do it? What do you mean, no? Oh, also, love your face. Bye. Bye. Click the things.